So for more on the results out of Florida, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Enrique Acevedo in Miami and CBS News political director Finn Gomez, who's right here in Studio 57. Welcome, gentlemen. Finn, I'm going to start with you. How critical was the Latino vote when it comes to shifting Florida from purple to red?
Critical. I mean, if you look at the margins for DeSantis, who won last night overwhelmingly, one of the highest margins actually in 40 years, beating Charlie Crist, the Democrat, in that race. But if you look specifically at the majority Hispanic districts, he won overwhelmingly, much bigger than he did in 2018. Also historic numbers. The change is real. Florida, once a purple state, is very much red, and it's because of Latinos and the Latino vote.
Was it outreach Republicans were doing, or is the conservatism just built in to the Cuban conservative community in Miami, in Florida in general?
Yeah, Jeff, the Cuban American demographic there has traditionally been very conservative. It has for decades, right? But at the same time, there's been the Republicans have expanded. They've outreached to like different demographics in that area, including Venezuelans, who are and they've grown that demographic across Florida.
So I should ask Enrique too. In regards to outreach to Latinos, our polling indicated that inflation was a top issue, but I wonder if there were other top issues too, and what Republicans have been doing that Democrats have not.
I mean, like the rest of the electorate, Latinos care about the economy, inflation. Of course, they care about the rising cost of healthcare. Those were the priorities that they mentioned on exit polls last night. But there's a set of issues, I think, that are specific to Latinos in Florida or in South Florida, more in particular, and where Republicans really did well engaging with these voters. And those have to do with identity, country of origin, and U.S. foreign policy towards places like Nicaragua, Cuba, Venezuela. The role religion plays in this. More Latinos are identifying themselves as Christians rather than Catholic. And I would just add to the question about the coalition of Latino voters that supported Ron DeSantis and Rubio. Cuban Americans are not the majority of the Latino vote in Florida anymore. They're the most important segment, but they're not the majority anymore. They're less than 50%. And still, Florida is now more Republican than it was when Cuban Americans were the majority. I think this coalition of voters that Finn was referring to, Venezuelan, Colombians, those are the voters that are really supporting conservative candidates.
That's a very good point, Enrique. Thank you for making it. And how do those voters feel about Ron DeSantis?
Well, he's very popular in the state and in places like Miami-Dade that Finn was pointing out. We haven't seen a Republican candidate win in Miami-Dade County in decades, and both Ron DeSantis and Marco Rubio carried Miami-Dade last night. I think, COVID politics, the fact that Latinos were disproportionately affected by the economic impact of the pandemic, but also the conservative values that most of these voters support played a role in Governor DeSantis carrying that advantage over Charlie Crist.
Finn, how does the popularity of Ron DeSantis in Florida compare to the former President Donald Trump's popularity in Florida?
In some recent polling before this election, we saw that DeSantis' popularity had grown ahead of former President Donald Trump. And that's a rivalry that's intensifying. It was a big win last night for Ron DeSantis in Florida, but it also accelerated the pace for 2024 as he's eyeing a potential run. And of course, former President Donald Trump is also eyeing a potential run with a big announcement in Mar-a-Lago in a week.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, based on that, I mean, we don't know about Trump's timing right now. DeSantis it's full speed ahead for him.
Yeah, I mean, that is what all indicators. And with Trump, though, I would just want to emphasize that a lot of people inside the Republican Party now are being critical of former President Donald Trump, saying that part of the reason that there were unexpected losses last night was because of the candidate quality issue of him backing candidates who were good in the primaries but not in the general elections.
So, Enrique, let me ask you then, what did the Democrats do wrong in Florida?
Well, I think the list of candidates that they put forward was not necessarily attractive to Latino voters. They didn't invest I'm saying resources, time, energy in connecting with these voters and really finding out what their priorities are. Because like we said, of course, the inflation, economy, reproductive rights, those are all priorities for Latinos. But then there's this whole new set of issues where Republicans really connected well with the electorate, with the Latino electorate, and Democrats really didn't show up. So I think this is a wake-up call for Democrats nationwide if we look at Florida as a bellwether state, because Florida has the most diverse Latino electorate in the country. These are not just Cuban Americans. Again, for all those people saying, well, don't look at Florida as the only reference for Latino voters. It is the most important reference because it really represents what's happening around the country. The 500% increase in the number of Venezuelans in the last 2 decades, the larger presence of Central Americans. This is what the Latino electorate might look like nationally, and that's not good news for Democrats.
I suppose we saw that in Texas, too. Texas was sort of reinforced what Enrique's saying, right? We talk about there were a number of Republican, Latino women who won in areas that could have been a toss-up. In some cases, they were going up against, incumbents.
Yeah, Republicans have made inroads there. They have, even though a couple of those Republican women did lose last night. Sorry, Jeff.
No, and this is the future. I mean, Florida's gaining population. Texas is gaining population.
Yep.
Places like New York and California are losing it. So when you talk about bellwethers for the next election in 2024 and beyond, you're looking at places like Florida and Texas.
Oh, absolutely. And just overall, to Enrique's point, that the Latino population is growing. It's the largest minority group in the country. And it's not just in places like Texas and Florida. It's also like in Wisconsin, which had one of the highest population booms of Latinos in the past couple of years. So you're seeing that, and you're seeing that both parties are now really have strategies towards appealing to them.
And you can't say they're going to vote one way or the other.
You can't. No. It really depending on regional and country of origin, a number of different factors.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Dream Team joining us here this morning. Appreciate it very much. Finn Gomez, Enrique Acevedo.